Namaste and welcome to this very, very special effort, ladies and gentlemen. This has to become a national movement. See equal, share the load. आजकल घरों में कपल्स के बीच तनाव बढ़ता जा रहा है। तनाव में कई कारण हो सकते हैं, लेकिन सबसे बड़ी वजह इनइक्वालिटी है। बराबरी से नहीं देखते, बराबर नहीं हो तो बैलेंस कहां से होगा। हम अक्सर देखते हैं कि महिलाएं दिन रात घर और बाहर के काम निपटाने में लगी रहती हैं। Many even today think it's only the job of women to do all the household chores. उनका काम है, औरतों का काम है। Today we're going to talk about why the right balance between couples is important and how it can be achieved. Well, this video is also part of Ariel's Share the Load movement, which aims to challenge this notion and wants to create equality in the division of household chores. Now, to elaborate and discuss this very, very sensitive subject, we have with us Dr. Nisha Khanna, marriage and family counselor with us, and we also have Ms. Preeti Rao, health expert and wellness coach. We'll also have Mr. Sharat Verma, Chief Marketing Officer, Procter & Gamble. Let's start with Sharat Verma, CMO, Procter & Gamble. Sharat, first up, tell us about the See Equal, Share the Load movement.
Ariel believes in a world free of gender bias, a world with equal representation and an equal voice for all individuals. We want to consistently leverage our voice to spark relevant conversations that enable change that consumers want to see. We found that 80% of women surveyed believe that their partners know how to do household tasks. So men really are very much capable. They know how to do it, but they felt that they just choose not to participate. We also know, and that was corroborated by data, that when men live with other men, they share the load nearly equally. I mean, we've all done that when we were staying with our roommates in college or friends. You know, household chores really are an equal responsibility in when we're staying with other men. And therefore, you know, what it really came down to was choice, right? 83% of women surveyed felt that men don't see women as their equal. They felt that there was a very different attitude when men were living with men, but when they got into relationships, really their mindset changed. And that's what really this edition of Share the Load is about, right? That if men can share the load equally with other men, then why not with their wives?
Now, we have seen the new aerial packs in the market to promote this movement. ये एक अलग सा concept है. इसके बारे में भी जरा बताइए.
We wanted to highlight this unconscious bias, which makes many men inherently assume that chores are primarily the responsibility of one gender, the woman. We know that conversations can help drive change, and we want to leverage all tools at our disposal to help drive meaningful conversation. This translates and permeates into everything we do as a brand. We want to use all touch points at our disposal. We try and leverage our entire ecosystem to advocate for equality and have a dialogue with the consumer and spark conversations. From leveraging our packs to year-on, engagement on social media, or even making sure we put out gender-neutral imagery on TV advertising for Ariel and Tide, where you'd always see more men doing the laundry than women. We want to leave really no stone unturned. So recently, actually, when comedian Anu Menon took to her social media in a satirical manner to talk about the same issue, she actually suggested that if she changes her name to her husband's best friend's name, maybe then she'll be, seen as an equal. And we, thought we could use this thought and carry it forward on our pack. So what we've done really is put out limited edition set of Ariel packs, where you'll find some of the most common names of Indian men. Our intent is simple. We want to make, use of whatever touch point we have, as I said, and packs can really be a trigger. We sell millions and millions of these packs every month. The pack that we put out can be a gift to those men who are already leading by example or taking up responsibility of household chores, or it could be bought into households where it can become a conversation starter to pave way for more equal division of household chores. We hope that all these triggers can help further create and amplify conversation that can bring about realization and propel us into a more equal tomorrow.
ये भी एक माइंडसेट है ना कि बदलना सिर्फ औरतों को पड़ेगा, मर्दों को नाम बदल देने चाहिए। घर के अंदर आती तुम्हारा नाम सीता, लक्ष्मी जो भी है उसी नाम से बुलाएंगे, तो भी फिर वापस मेंटालिटी माइंडसेट चेंज की बात है।
Women in the house have to set the right precedence.
करेक्ट।
You know, they have to stand up for themselves. उनको बोलना चाहिए, treat me as an equal, respect me for who I am, value my opinions, value my hopes, value my desires for good education, financial independence, the right to choose a partner, you know, to right to make any kind of decision that I want to. Hear me out. What I've seen in a lot of coaching sessions of mine, that a lot of women have never even been asked कि आपका लाइफ का मकसद क्या है, आपके लाइफ का ड्रीम क्या है।
कहीं ना कहीं एक बहुत बड़ा मेंटल स्ट्रेस फैक्टर भी है। आप मानेंगे कि इस लो सेल्फ एस्टीम, उसके साथ साथ फिर अपने आप को इन्फीरियोरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स, फिर एक अलग स्ट्रेस की आप की भूमिका क्या है इस घर के अंदर। तो
लैक ऑफ सेल्फ अवेयरनेस प्लेज एन इम्पॉर्टेंट रोल। अब आप सेल्फ अवेयरनेस की बात करें, अगर एक औरत ही एजुकेटेड नहीं है, उसको ही नहीं पता, जब उससे पूछा नहीं, एक मदर से ही पूछा नहीं गया तुम्हारी क्या इच्छा है, तो बेटी से तो बहुत बात की बात है। और वही कल्चर फिर अब बेटे पर भी होगा। सो इफ यू विल सी बियॉन्ड इट जेंडर, तो आपको समझ में आएगा। आई डोंट नो, बट मुझे ऐसा लगता है इफ यू विल सी इट बियॉन्ड जेंडर, शेयरिंग द लोड इज दैट men also talk about emotions and women also talk about we want to be independent, we want to be known in the field of profession also, we don't want to be in the walls of house. Preeti ji said that मुझे अपने नाम के साथ, अपने बच्चे के नाम के साथ अपनी फैमिली का नाम चाहिए था। तो आई थिंक सो एवरी वुमन हैज टू कम अप what emotions, I don't know, but in last COVID times of 2 years, whatever the cases came to me, and whenever women talked about I get tired, I tell them टॉक अबाउट योर इमोशंस। एक नो वर्ड जो है वो औरत के मुंह से सुनना आदमी को भी अच्छा नहीं लगता और किसी को अच्छा नहीं लगता। आई थिंक सो वो नो मीन्स नो, यू हैव टू एक्सेप्ट इट, एंड दैट्स द पार्ट ऑफ ए नीड सिस्टम। टू हैप्पी इंडिविजुअल्स मेक हैप्पी मैरिज।
करेक्ट।
इफ यू आर इनटू अ मैरिज एंड वन पर्सन इज अनहैप्पी, ऑटोमेटिकली द अदर पार्टनर्स गेट इंपैक्टेड।
हम बात कर रहे हैं शेयर द लोड कॉन्सेप्ट को जिंदगी में अपनाकर कैसे बदलाव लाया जा सकता है। टाइम फॉर अ वेरी शॉर्ट ब्रेक, विल बी राइट बैक। C equal, share the load. That's our special. Welcome back. We're discussing why it is important to share the load. हमारे एक्सपर्ट्स आपको बता रहे हैं कि मिल बांट कर काम करने से कैसे घर, समाज, देश और दुनिया से तनाव कम किया जा सकता है। Well, Sharad, I have to ask you this. Ariel has been proudly associated with this movement for over 7 years now. क्या आपने कभी सोचा था कि ये इतना बड़ा एक मूवमेंट, एक मुहिम बन जाएगी?
जब हमने एरियल शेयर द लोड 2015 में स्टार्ट किया था, तो हमारा एक ही ऑब्जेक्टिव था दैट लेट्स हैव कॉन्वर्सेशंस टू ऑन द सब्जेक्ट ऑफ दिस बिग इनइक्वालिटी दैट एग्जिस्ट्स इन द डिवीजन ऑफ हाउस होल्ड चोर्स, राइट? फॉर अस रियली शेयर द लोड इज नॉट अ कैंपेन, इट्स रियली अ मूवमेंट टू ड्राइव सोशल एंड कल्चरल चेंज दैट वी वांट टू कीप अलाइव टिल वी अचीव gender equality in the division of household chores. We want to consistently leverage our voice as a voice for good and as a force for good to spark relevant conversations that enable change that consumers want to see. We know that years of conditioning and unwinding that will take time. Social and cultural change always takes time. It's a journey.
Well, and if I remember correctly, I think you've had themes each year that you adopted. Can you tell us a little more about it?
So back in 15, when we sparked the movement, we sparked it with a simple film that raised the question, right? It was a very uncomfortable question. And therefore it didn't require a very, powerful film. It was basically a simple message: is laundry only a woman's job? And that was the question that really we asked in the film. In 2016, हमने इसको follow up किया with Dad Share the Load, which was very, very successful. Actually, it took the conversation from India, out there to the globe. It urged fathers to break the cycle of prejudice that was being passed down from one generation to the next in the form of conditioning. We followed that up with Sons Share the Load. We know that children really learn from what they see. In 2020, with Share the Load for Equal Sleep, we had a conversation on how household chores like laundry were coming in the way of women getting enough sleep and rest. So really, if I go back, 7 years, the core of the idea is the same. We've been raising our voice against the inequality in the division of household chores. और हर साल हम अलग तरीके से हम उस conversation को आगे ले जाते हैं to try and address a barrier which we feel is coming in the way of men sharing the load. And this year, really, we've gone to the core of the core issue.
When it's a working household, where that means both the partners are actually working and they are stepping out of the house, is the situation different? क्या वो अलग है compared to when एक की भूमिका है कि वो कमाए और दूसरे की भूमिका है कि वो घर को बसाए? क्या उसमें भी माइंडसेट का डिफरेंस आता है?
Yes, that is true. Division of labor we called it. Division of labor when both people are working, earning. So I tell them they have to both to do the work.
Correct.
Now the situation comes when you says one partner is working or a man is working, woman is managing the house. So then there is a set of expectations. Marriage is a part of life, not your whole life.
Correct.
Kids are a part of life. That's why lots of women have that emptiness syndrome also later on in the life.
हाँ, क्योंकि उनको यही सिखाया जाता है कि तुमको एक टाइम पे एक लेवल का तुम्हारा एंड गोल शादी है. I personally do not endorse this mindset at all, but it's a reality. And कई बार ऐसा है कि हमारे समाज में कई सारी चीज़ें हैं जो इतना घुस गई हैं जो हमको खुद समझ में नहीं आता कि क्या ये रियलिटी और हम खुद इसको फॉलो करते हैं. But I want to ask you, Preeti ji, are men deliberately choosing not to contribute, not to share the load? And why this movement needs to become bigger?
Deliberately would be a very, very strong word to say, because they are also socially trained like that from their childhood. So they are a victim of the circumstances and the surroundings in the education, where there's movies, media, newspaper. For the longest time, we've been talking about women in the last decade very, very strongly, right? So I think what's really important is to educate young boys at school level, making health and wellness and talking about equality, teaching everybody with compassion, respect, irrespective of gender. When two couples get married, counseling, coaching before marriage to understand each other's aspirations and needs and desires. तो हम वे सब देखते हैं कि उसका प्रोफेशन क्या है, उसका घरदार क्या है, उसके पास कितना पैसा है, क्या जॉब करता है लड़का, बट हम ये कभी इमोशनली कनेक्शन of this person and understanding between each other, if that has happened at that time, I think the relationships will be better, and the child that is coming from that relationship is also going to flourish.
क्या आप ये मानेंगे कि अगर ये शेयर द लोड वाला सिस्टम होता है, साथ मिलकर काम करें, तो शायद कम्युनिकेशन भी बढ़ेगा? क्योंकि अक्सर ऐसा होता है कि घर छोटा पड़ जाता है और क्योंकि लोग छुपने की जगह ढूंढते हैं, एक दूसरे से बातें नहीं होती.
As a person, I am always sulking, I am always cribbing, my partner is not available, I have so much of workload. The basic thing is I have to do intentional activity for that day.
Correct.
So if I have a right role model, okay, my mother is there to tell me, nahi beta, you should be independent, you should do job. So definitely I will pursue towards that. So that's why I always says that educate the woman, educate the family.
कई बार ना ये एक ईगो फाइट भी हो जाता है कि कंट्रोल किसके पास है. और मैं जानता हूँ ये घरों में होता है कि भाई चाय बन गई है, टेबल पे रखी है, अब वहाँ बंदा पेपर लेके बैठा है और ये सोच रहा है कि वो चाय उठा के यहाँ पे ला के रखेगी और तब मैं चाय पीऊँगा. थोड़ी देर बाद आके देखा कि चाय वहीं की वहीं पड़ी, उठाई नहीं गई है, क्योंकि उसका ये कहना है कि कंट्रोल मेरे पास है घर का. That's an unfortunate part. That's not how relationships have to be, because nobody at any point in time can always hold the upper hand. उठ के जाके अपनी चाय ले लो. अब क्या होता है उस वक्त, महिला है ना, so it's the nurture. तो वो the motherhood feeling comes even in the wife saying, अरे यार चाय भी ठंडी हो गई, मेरे पति ने चाय भी नहीं पी, चलो मैं ही दे देती हूँ. I will only compromise. But that one act of compromise allows the husband to think, अब ये मेरे कंट्रोल में आ गए, अब ये सब कुछ मेरे लिए करेगी. You see how it works?
Yeah.
This mindset, and this is where I don't think it's the women who've got to be taught.
Any person to be successful, you need a social ecosystem. एक महिला को भी या एक मर्द को भी सक्सेसफुल होने के लिए अकेले करना बहुत मुश्किल है. आपको बहुत सहयोग चाहिए, एक सोशल इकोसिस्टम चाहिए. आदमी के लिए बहुत आसानी से मिल जाता है. When a woman wants to pursue something, उसके सामने बच्चे हैं, बर्तन हैं, घर का काम है, she has to work 10 times. So it's very important कि अगर हमारे in-laws, हमारे parents, because हमारे parents को हमें usually सिखाया जाता है, आप sacrifice करो, आप compromise करो, you are the first one to give up on your dreams and aspirations. So I think if our parents, we have to educate our parents also to change their mindset. Our in-laws also have to support women and the marriage to be successful so that all of them can pursue their dreams and aspirations.
जब आप ये शेयरिंग ऑफ द लोड नहीं होता, एक बैलेंस नहीं होता, इक्वालिटी ये जो सेंस है ये नहीं होता, तो इसके फिजिकल मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज क्या हो सकते हैं?
2/3 of women are talking about that they're battling depression, anxiety and mental health issues today in India. 89% of women are saying कि मुझे आराम करने के लिए टाइम नहीं मिलता. There is no rest, relaxation, rejuvenation and I'm stressed. So when there is imbalance in emotional, social, spiritual and mental health in its entirety, it affects every other dimension of your life, इंक्लूडिंग योर फिजिकल हेल्थ. और मेंटल हेल्थ और फिजिकल हेल्थ का बहुत तगड़ा जोर है. मगर अगर डिप्रेशन है तो नेचुरली देखा जाता है वो पर्सन ओवरवेट ओबीस हो सकता है. मेंटल हेल्थ है, स्ट्रेस, एंग्जाइटी है, यू हैव एलिवेटेड लेवल्स ऑफ हाई ब्लड प्रेशर, sugar, and so there is a deep connection, and science says most of the issues are psychosomatic. They're happening in the brain because all your habits, जितनी भी आपकी आदतें हैं वो तो बनती यहाँ पे हैं. जब ये ठीक नहीं होगा, see how you perceive the world, how to look at the world, how you emote, how you react, how the body is reacting to your perception of the world. Bilkul. If this is not in balance, then nothing in life is in balance. Correct. So we need to bring ourselves in holistic balance for us to succeed as a nation.
अक्सर लोग कहते हैं लोड क्यों ले रहा है, हम कह रहे हैं थोड़ा लोड ले लो, बराबर कर लो, दूसरों का लोड कम करो, हाथ बटाओ, तभी मिलकर बोझ उठाओ. So what's next in this entire movement of C equals share the load? What can we expect going forward? It's already become so big.
Consistently इस message के ऊपर बात करनी पड़ेगी for us to be able to accelerate the pace of change. And the more voices we can join this movement, the faster we will be able to convert household chores from something that men choose to help with, right? अभी भी हमारा जो attitude है वो है कि हमें अपनी wife की help करनी है. But really we have to move from that, mindset that I need to help to that it's a joint responsibility, right? So really we need to keep going. There's much to be done. There's so much conversation to be had, and there are multiple triggers that you will see that we will keep coming out with so that we can continue to have conversations which can get us to a more equal tomorrow sooner than later.
अगर हमारे कुछ हक हैं तो कुछ फर्ज भी हैं. We request you to join the movement, see equal and share the load. आप सब इस मुहिम का हिस्सा बने और बदलाव लाएं.